Okay, so I was watching your video. It's like 5 hours long on all the tritypes. I like you compiled it all together, and then you had about
Oh, yeah.
an hour at the beginning where you were explaining some. I think it was stuff about TriStar or something like that. But there
Yeah,
was this diagram, and there was like all these little pieces everywhere, and then it had the tritypes, and then you related your own tritype to. It said one above it, and
that's
so
numerically. Like if you add 4, 7, and 8, it's actually 19, 10, 1. So it becomes 19. And then if you add the 1 and 9, it becomes 10. But it's
okay,
still
so
double digits. So you add the 1 and 0, and it becomes 1.
Okay, so it is, but it's like you, so I saw other numbers above other tritypes, like 853, I think it was seven.
Yeah.
So how
Yeah.
does that work?
Same thing. How does it influence your tri-type?
Yeah, like how is the yeah, exactly.
It means that there's, like, if anyone has one, they're starters, no matter where they are on the TriStar. Now, if they happen to also be in the 3 sector of the 2, 3, 4, then they're really going to start something and make it happen because that's important to them. But if they're a 1 up at the top in the gut center, like the 9, they're seeking resolution. So they're a starter that wants to resolve. So they're going to go through steps to help resolve things. It won't be so instant as like the 468 that is in the opposing triad. So let's look at it that way. The 2, 3, 4 is the initiating triad. The 5, 6, 7 is the opposing, always seeing the opposite point of view in search for balance. And then the 8, 9, 1 is the integrating, trying to merge it. And I should say that most people don't realize that the 2, 3, 4 who suffer from shame and grief and kind of a love trauma have their suffering that way. And so they do something to be worthy and to have value. And then the 5, 6, and 7 have the fear and paranoia, and like they're going to be unsafe with others. So they focus on others. Are you the safe tribe or are you the dangerous tribe? And how can I tell? What can I observe to see if I'm safe? Who will hurt me? Who won't? And here's what was lost in transmission is that the gut type is the merging of the heart and the head, and because it's the reconciling triad. And that's why gut types don't like making decisions, and that we focus on good, bad, right, want, right, wrong, nice, not nice, safe, unsafe. It's all polarities. But the 1 tries to research and find out to be certain to have an answer. And the 8 just is reactive and immediately has an answer and is more than willing to change it when there's a better answer. It's just a different approach. But they go into action. So our gut triad is what we need to do or not do to feel safe. And then the 9 says, well, should I research it more and see what other people think and get consensus? Or should I act immediately like the 8? And then the 9 says, well, maybe it'll just work itself out and they're more allowing. So the high side of the 9 is that they accept. And when they struggle is when they wait too long and maybe should have taken action and didn't, but they're not really meant to take an action, to tell you the truth. So once you understand that if your tri-type is up in the reconciling triad, no matter what your number is, no matter what your tri-type is, you're seeking resolution first and foremost, that your tri-type is meant to find resolution.
Okay, so all the so that number above it, is that like some kind of an overlay on the tritype?
That's the numerical addition of the 3 types in the tri-type.
So then like for you, 874, it would be like the 1 is kind of an overlay on your.
Yeah, it's another quality underneath how I'm going to express my creativity.
Okay.
Now, the other thing with the TriStar, and I've done several versions of them so you can see different things, but there's only one set of 9. And in the set, the 4, 7, 8 is on the 4 point. So an 8 or 7 with that tritype is highly creative because the 4 holds the point of individuality. And the 8 point is really the 4, 5, 8. And so a 5 with that tritype is still a reconciler, but they're going to assert. They're going to verbally assert. They're going to use their skills from 5 and 4 to get their point across. So it's almost better to see it to understand that. But there's so much wonderful information that was always there. Just when I tried to explain it years ago, they were just really beginning to understand the concept that there are 3 subtypes. And I go, yeah, but there's 3 types too, 3 types. That's why I called it 3 types originally. But every piece, and it goes on to infinity, is important, each piece. And it just shows more and more of our individuality. So the way I did the test is I opened it with 3 cards of the same Enneagram type, and you had to rank in first, second, and third position. So first choice, second choice, third choice. And I went through all 27. And then once you had your choices, then I started having the program serve you, okay, with the Hornavians, like, what do you choose? And with the harmonics, what do you choose? And then once you chose the top for each, they gave you the 3 and you had to rank those again. So it's all a ranking process. But having said that, 2 people could come out of 4, 5, 8, but have chosen different cards. But they were all 4 cards, 5 cards, and 8 cards because they had 3 to choose from. So you 3 times 7, that was 27 variables before you ever start this sorting process of our first tritypes, which were the primary and hexad tritypes. There's 3 right there. And then the 3 harmonics, which actually Chazo and Naranjo called antipodes. And then with the center that matched it, which became known as harmonics. So it's the Hornavians and the harmonics, which is important because Naranjo put the Hornavians in the buckets of the types. And then he was basing the other choices on these antipodes of the opposite types, the hexad, 2 hexad types that were similar, and then the center that was like that. So 4 and 8 are the 2 most intense types and reactive. And which type of the primary is reactive? The 6. So none of us knew that, of course. We just noticed, oh yeah, these are all 3 reactive. Or yeah, these are all 3 similar. But he did his job, is what I'm saying.